Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are just tuning in this week, welcome back to the SmutNut reviews. If you are a first-time visitor, thank you for tuning into my channel. And if you are a return visitor, thank you for coming back. Um, I do want to apologize. I took a week off. I didn't upload a video last week. Um, and I have really good reason. I was writing. So I was doing a lot of writing last week. And I apologize to coming to you guys from my couch. I'm actually, I don't want to say in traction, but my back has been giving me a lot of issues the last week or so. So I have been trying to recuperate, doing a lot of writing. Maybe it's because I've been hunched over a table and a laptop so much lately that that's why my back hurts. I'm not really certain, but I do plan on visiting the doctor because this can't continue. But in the meantime, I did want to catch up with you guys, and try and stay true to my promise to make as many videos as possible, at least once a week. So last week I did drop the ball. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I got a lot of work done on my own project, so I am very happy for that. Um, I don't have, it's weird because I don't have a name for the project yet. It still doesn't have a title. I'm sure the title will come to me eventually, but I'm very pleased with my characters that I have started developing even more. One of the biggest obstacles for me personally is that while I can write a great story and I can keep the entire story in my head, um, the minute details keep me from making, a huge, being, what's the word I'm looking for? Productive. So these minute details, I'm trying to stay on top of and keep abreast of. So while I'm writing, I'm keeping my outline going, dates, times, things like that, because of course continuity is super important. Um, I cannot explain how excited I am about writing. Um, for those of you who know me personally, you know the struggle that I have had with writing. I'm a huge fan of writers. I respect anyone who can put pen to paper and create a whole new universe with just their imagination. Um, and for the longest time, while I tried to do that, I didn't really think I had the ability to write on the level that I've been doing so in the last couple of months. So I'm very proud of the work that I have accomplished thus far. Um, with that being said, I won't be doing a review this week. What I will be doing, so I'm not reviewing any books. I'm just keeping you up to date on what's going on with me because, as I said, this blog really is a way to share with you guys my journey, what's happening with me, and of course, um, these great books that I love. So I will be getting back to the Jenna Jacobs series, the Doms of Genesis. There are many more books in that series that I would like to continue reviewing on, and I will definitely be getting back to it. Hopefully, I'll be able to get back to it sometime next week. And bring you guys back up to date with that. I know I also started the Shayla Black and Lexi Blake series, The Perfect Gentleman. I will definitely be getting back into that more specifically because part of this review is going to be me discussing upcoming books that I am actually really excited about reading. And one of them is, of course, the latest installment in the Perfect Gentleman series. We got a release date for that, and I'm super excited because I absolutely love that series. Love those characters. Love the way that story pulls together. It's so interesting. It's so exciting, and I am definitely looking forward to reading more about those characters, those faces. So that's something that I'll get into, of course, when I move forward. I was sharing with you guys previously, my issues at work. Truth be told, I'm still facing the same dilemmas at work. It's kind of sort of coming to a head for me. I I really can't get into it, and I don't want to divulge too much about, where I work, because then you start to get into the political politics of, workroom, social media ethics, and things like that. So I don't want to go into it too much, but I'm still facing the same dilemmas at work. I would much rather be able to focus on my writing, but of course, at this moment, writing is not currently paying my bills. So I do still have to go to work. I still have a regular everyday job. And I'm just trying to maintain both of those aspects of my life, what I want to be doing versus, of course, what I have to be doing in order to keep a roof over my head. Um, Other than that, let me get into, a couple of things that I wanted to discuss book wise. So it's been a really big, really quiet time for me in terms of reading. I don't know. I haven't been reading as much as I want to, probably because I've been writing so much. So the books that I review here are generally books that I read a while ago, and these are books that made a huge impact for myself. Um, what I generally do is I will read a book. If I love it and it's something that resonates with me that I absolutely adored, I will actually buy the softback, the paperback, and I will add it to my library. So in my library, on my bookcase, all the books that I have are books that I've read before. These are books that I do not mind rereading. And a lot of people ask me all the time, why do you do that? Why not buy new books? I do buy new books. I generally buy new books and I read them on my e-reader. So on my Kindle. Or read them on my phone or whatever. That's where my new books are stored. But my library is full of books that I've read already, and I say it to people like this. People buy DVDs of movies that they went to see in the movie theater. People buy CDs, or nowadays they download albums that they've heard before. And it's because you love to watch those movies over and over again. They make you feel a certain kind of way. You love to listen to those songs over and over again. I feel the same way about these books. It's great for me to go back and reread a book that I fell in love with, and find some new detail about the book, or read something that resonates with me again. Um, so that's one of those things that I actually. I'm sorry, guys. My cat is sitting right here. Say hi, Binksy. Anyhow, um, that's one of those things that I love and I actually adore about reading. When I find a book that is something that resonates with me, I keep it and I will go back and I'll read it over and over and over and over and over again until I never get sick of it. So I find myself doing that lately. Rather than picking up new books, I've been rereading a lot of the old stuff. So I know that I had recently reread a couple of the books in the Wicked Lover series by Shayla Black, because I was reviewing the Jenna Jacobs series, or because I am reviewing the Jenna Jacobs series. I find myself rereading those as well. Alexa Riley books are always something that I can pick up and reread. They're short, they're quick, they're dirty. Um, so I find myself doing that a lot lately. But in the meantime, there are a ton of books that are actually coming out that I cannot wait to read. And maybe that's why I haven't been reading so much, because all these books that I've actually been sitting around anticipating haven't come out yet. So in the meantime, I'm just kind of twiddling my thumbs. And I've got a lot of books that are actually books that I am pretty interested and dying to read. So of course there is the Alexa Riley books that, they come out with books probably once, twice every 2-3 weeks. I've read everything by them. I do know they put out Stay Close, which was a third book, I think, in their His Only series. I have not read Stay Close yet, but I know it's not a really long read. It's pretty pretty short, probably, novella length. So I'm gonna probably end up reading that within the next day or two and call it a day on that and just get that out of my system. I do know they have a new book coming out, Kingpin, which I cannot wait to read. It's part of their breeding series. I'm not sure what the release date is yet, but I am dying to read it. I know Jodi Ellen Malpas. She just released, I believe, on Tuesday, The Forbidden. I'm a huge fan of Jodi Ellen Malpas. If you have not heard of her, if you've never read any of her books, please do. I started out reading the This Man series. I love Jesse Ward. He's awesome. He was a great character to read. I fell in love with him from like word one. So I read her. I read the This Man series, and then of course I read the One Night trilogy. I also read The Protector. So I'm a huge fan. And she just released The Forbidden. I believe I put my order in for it already, so it'll be here any day, and I can read it. Of course, I am waiting for the latest release of the Perfect Gentleman series. So that's with Shayla Black and Lexi Blake. This is book 4. It's called Sin and Smoke. I do know they released. They provided the release date for that probably earlier this week. It's September 26th, if I'm not mistaken. I was super excited because that's really close. Usually when I hear about a book, it's months and months and months and months and months away. So it's super close. Super excited about that book coming out. I cannot wait. I've been waiting for this book to be released for a while now, ever since the last one came out. So I'm very excited to get my hands on that book and just dive into it and find out what more is going on in this little universe that they've created. I'm also reading or waiting to read, what is it called? Filthy Rich Love by Laurelyn Page. Laurelyn Page is a great, amazing author. She writes these really intense, really sexy books. The first time that I read anything by her, it was the Fix trilogy. I fell in love with those books. And I've read quite a few by her as well. So I was really enamored with that. And when I heard about the Filthy Rich Men series, I was really captivated from like word one. First of all, when I heard about it and I heard it was a Laurelyn Page series, I immediately knew I had to get my hands on it. I read Filthy Rich Boys, which was the precursor or the prologue. It was really great, really short, really sweet, but it painted a really clear picture of what you could expect. Filthy Rich Men was amazing. So good. So good. I was really, really pleased with that book. It was everything that I anticipated it to be. When you hear about a new book by an author and you are not certain where they're going to take that series, you kind of build things up in your head. That book was everything I needed it to be and then some. And I cannot wait for the release of the second book in that series. I'm also waiting for the next book by the Blood Runner series. So for those of you who have never heard of the Blood Runner series, it's actually really weird because I got turned on to it by someone on Pinterest. For most people, when they hear it or when they see the covers or they see the books, they really kind of miscategorize this book as like a cheesy romance novel, kind of something that you would pick up at the grocery store. It's not that. It's so good. Like, I cannot explain. And I'm going to do an in-depth review of the Blood Runner series one day. It is one of my favorite series. Rhiannon Bird is the author. I cannot explain to you how good this is. Blood Runner series is probably like True Blood meets, I don't even know. It's just so good. It really should be a TV series or something. It's that good. I'm waiting for the last book in that series to come out because it's so dope. I actually got my best friend to start reading it with me, so I'm rereading the Blood Runner series again, but we've been doing that for months now. I believe we're on book 5 of the series. I cannot tell you. I definitely recommend it because my best friend is a guy. And I picked that series simply because he told me that he's not a reader, my best friend. And I was like, how are you friends with me and you're not a reader? That's impossible. So he said, we'll pick a book and we'll read it together. So I said, cool. And I sat back and I thought about it. I said, what's a guy friendly book? Because, I don't want to drag him down with reading, you know, basically a chick book. So I picked what I thought was the most guy friendly book that I had, which is the Blood Runner series, full of action, full of blood, full of fighting, full of manly men, these amazing werewolves who I don't want to give the story away, but it's such a great story, and I'm waiting for the last book in that series to come out. I'm also waiting for whatever is the latest thing coming from Jenna Jacob. I cannot wait. I will be picking it up immediately. It doesn't even matter what it is. I'm also waiting for the Alphas of Danger anthology. So I read the Alphas of Sin probably earlier this year or like late last year. I forget when it came out. But I read the Alphas of Sin. Huge book. Great book. It introduced me to quite a few authors that I was not aware of, and quite a few books that I really do need to get on my to be read list. It's one of those things that each author basically either wrote a very short story or they contributed like the first few chapters of a book that they actually have. So there were a few stories in that book that caught my attention, and I'll have to go back and flip through it and tag them so that I can find out more about these authors and these stories, because I think at least 3 or 4 of them were from authors that I'd never heard of, but the storylines were really, really interesting. Just, they were very, very, captivating. Sorry, I had a brain fart there for a moment. So those are the things that I'm actually, anticipating right now. Waiting for these books to come out so I can, of course, have something to read. In the meantime, I'm just, I'm flicking through my Kindle and just at random picking a book and just reading it. I believe that I started the Alpha One Security series by Jacinda Wilder. Anybody who's never read those books or read anything by her, she's the author of the Big Girls Do It Better series. I remember reading that, and I wasn't that impressed with the Big Girls Do It Better series. However, I'm sorry, I keep saying super. I really need to expand my vocabulary tonight. I was very impressed, and I was extremely surprised because I read another series by her, the Alpha series, or the Omega series, I'm sorry, which was great. It was really interesting, really sexy, really exciting, dangerous read that I was entertained by, and the way the story unfolded was actually pretty unique. So I was very entertained by that book. And then there was the Alpha One Security series, so I started reading that. I finished the last book in the Princess series by Alexa Riley. So I've just been kind of like all over the place. I haven't had the best luck lately with like anything that's really capturing me and like making me fall head over heels in love with it. The last series I think that I read that really, or the last book that I read that really made me say, oh my god, this was amazing, was I think the Dirty Filthy Rich Men. That was the last book that I was just like, oh, I had a really long book hangover after that. But I'm waiting. I'm searching. I continue to read, but with my own writing taking up so much of my time lately, it's kind of a little difficult to read, write, and work. So I'm trying to balance life as it is. I am always looking for another great read. I beseeched you guys the last time about a good Lexi Blake book. I do know I have the Shayla Black More Than series in my back pocket. I haven't tackled it yet. And not to say I'm not a huge Shayla Black fan. For those of you who continue to watch my videos, you know Shayla is probably my go-to author. Anything by her is pretty much a given. I'm going to read it and love it. But I don't know. I haven't been excited to, not even excited, but I haven't been moved to read the More Than series yet. I have the first book and the second book here in the house. It's in my library. That's one of the, and again, my library is usually full of books that I have read already, but of course there are a handful of authors that no matter what they write, I'm gonna buy it, and doesn't matter if I've read it or not. Shayla Black is one of those authors. I don't have to buy it and put it in my Kindle. I can buy the softback and put it in my library. I know I'm gonna love it, so it doesn't matter. The same goes for Jenna Jacob, Laurel and Page, Rhiannon Bird. These are authors that I just immediately, I am in tune with their writing style, with what they put out. I know that when I read it, I'm going to fall in love with it. So there's no need to have 2 and 3 copies on my Kindle, on my phone, on my then buy the soft copy. I can just skip all of that, save myself a little bit of money, and just buy the soft copy and read that because I'm gonna love it. But I do have the More Than series. I have not started reading it yet. I don't know. I'm just not. I'm in a reading funk. So hopefully, with all these great new books that are going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks or so, it'll actually prompt me to get out of my reading funk, because I know there are some great books that are coming out, and I would like to attack them. I actually would like to meet my Goodreads goal for the year. I have not quite hit it yet. I'm about halfway through, and we are almost 3/4 of the way done with the year, so I really have to get on that. But in the meantime, I'm just maintaining or trying to balance all these aspects of my life. My writing is coming along. It's probably the most exciting part of my life right now, and what I'm doing and where I stand. I'm really excited with what's happening. So I hope you guys can stick with me. I do thank you for tuning in. Again, thanks for sitting down with me and, hearing about these new books that are coming out. If anyone is ever looking for a suggestion for a book, please, I'm your girl. In the meantime, I hope you guys have a great night, and I am going to go.